everyone rocked up to the USA, ready for the US Grand Prix in Austin, Texas. But there was a couple of things to talk about before we get into that. Now, first of all, we can announce that the Singapore and the Japanese Grand Prix are both going to go ahead after late inspection checks. The plan was to have the US Grand Prix, then the Japanese Grand Prix, followed by the Italian and the Belgian Grand Prix. However, unaware to us, both Singapore and Japan were meant to be on the calendar. However, there was some problems with the grandstands, and they had to make some maintenance changes. The FAA have stated that both of them are in suitable condition and are ready to go. Now, the biggest dilemma here that we've now found out is because obviously both of them were under inspection, tickets were already sold. So if you cancelled a Grand Prix, it would cause more chaos considering the FIA are slowly repairing the trust within the fans. So in order to keep everybody happy, both Singapore and Japan will go ahead this year. Now, obviously, that meant that all the teams had to make sure they were happy with that. And the teams were. And the FIA have now promised to pay for a brand new engine and gearbox for each and every single team, as there is an extra race, so they can all have an extra gearbox and engine as a bit of compensation for them carrying on working further forwards. However, all teams agreed that no matter what, if both could go ahead, they would go to both of them, which is great, so we get more races. McLaren are set to retain both of their drivers for next year. Both Lando Norris and Sam Williams have had a great year, with McLaren really shooting up to the top, albeit with unreliability issues coming their way. However, they're going to be staying at McLaren next year. As for Mercedes, well, they want to keep both Reese and Tom for next year and have them both fight against Norris and Sam again. However, no deal is done yet, so we're not quite sure. What we can guarantee is that Jaguar are going to be losing Pierre Gasly as he's set to leave, and Valtteri Bottas is also leaving BMW after an awful year over at BMW. But a couple of changes there. So we're going to be having a 15 race calendar this year rather than the suspected 14, even 13 races after the inspections have passed. And yeah, we've got drivers staying and drivers leaving. Let's get into the news, see what's going on in the US Grand Prix and see who's looking on top. Right then, so the practice pointers for the US Grand Prix. Mercedes are focused only on their race pace. It was straight away clear that from the team that they were not happy with the way the car was working in a qualifying trim. However, in a race trim, they were really happy with it. They are eligible to make multiple different variations of their setup to really work with it, and they decided that they're just going to focus on race pace and leave qualifying for them to sort themselves out. Red Bull are posing a major threat, and this was shown in FP3. In FP1 and FP2, we thought Red Bull would actually maybe be in the clutches of Porsche. However, they're now right up there and could pose a threat to McLaren in this race, such is their speed. And Ferrari are also showing promising speed ahead of the US Grand Prix, with Nico Rosberg especially showing that he might be able to mix it in with the Mercedes cars and also with the Red Bulls and potentially then beat the Porsches later down the line. But without further ado, let's get into qualifying and the race. It's the US Grand Prix. Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Foxy98 here. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the F1 journey for you guys today here on the channel. Today we're here for round number 11, which is the US Grand Prix. And yeah, we're going to be getting straight into this race and seeing where we can go. But as you would have heard at the start of the episode, we have now increased the season to 15 races. The reason for this is because when I was recording this, I actually lost track of my calendar. And I recorded Singapore and then Italy, not realising that I missed out Japan. And I still really wanted to do Japan, and I worked out my timetable of when I'm going away on holiday and when F1 2019 comes out, etc. and when can I upload videos. And I've worked out in terms of my schedule, if I do things correctly, I can add an extra race in there, which is not a problem. So I thought, why not, considering all I upload these days now is the F1 journey until obviously F1 2019 comes out. So I thought I might as well add the Japanese Grand Prix there in as well, because it's not really going to do that much for me. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in terms of that stage. Anyway, having a look then at how things are going in qualifying, not really too well. We did go a little bit corner cutty on the sector last corner. You would have seen it gave me a warning for it. But it really didn't make that much of a difference, really, because there's only going to be P9 on the grid. It wasn't a good qualifying, actually, for myself. Really struggled. In fairness, though, I was only 0.6 of a second off pole. I didn't realise that to start with. I thought it was a bit further back. You can see that Rosberg only a 10th shy in the Ferrari, so that's some great performance there from him. And Reese there managing to qualify P6. It's pretty much a split decision there between myself and Reese being in a double Audi sandwich there. And obviously that's a little bit disappointing, but 0.6 off, I'm kind of pleased with that. And as you can see, for the race itself, it's going to be a one-stop strategy. So obviously, we'll be starting on the ultra soft tyres and then moving to a set of the soft tyres to get us to the end of the race then. But as you can see, they're on the grid now for the start of the US Grand Prix. Always can provide some classics. 5 red lights here for the US Grand Prix. It's lights out. Here we go here to start the race now. And Sam gets off to a good start initially there. Rosberg now tries to go towards the inside line as Norris there gets a good start. And we go horribly wide there, getting shoved wide in towards the first corner. But now we try and go round the outside of one of the Audi cars. Back end really slides out there. Not a good start actually from us on this occasion. We have lost out to Sebastian Vettel. Let's look at Sam's start there. He gets away nice and cleanly now, ahead of Rosberg, ahead of Norris. And then as you can see, we've lost plenty of positions in there as the 2 BMWs go scrapping in the background there. And now we've got some work to do to try and regain the places that we have just lost. In fact, we only just lost the 1 position, and that was the Vettel. But it is Sam who leads the Grand Prix ahead of Rosberg. Then it's Lando Norris. Then it's George Russell. Then it's Reese. Then Pascal Wehrlein. Then Vettel. And then myself. We have a look into this corner before the long straight, but it's not going to work for us. Try and get a better line on the exit there compared to Vettel, and it has worked in our favour. You can see here now on the drag up towards the straight, we're in the slipstream of Sebastian Vettel. We're going to be putting this thing into overtake and ERS mode to get this move done, and as we make our way down in towards this hairpin corner, he has the slipstream on Wehrlein, so we've got to be careful here when making this dive bomb, but we do make it sick there. It's critical when the AIs break slowly into that hairpin. You can't dive bomb too many cars, and you can't dive bomb no cars at all, because if you take that risk and you move to the inside, you are committed to a move, and if you sort of go too much, where you're going to smash off loads of cars. If you back off and let yourself sort of gently guide your way through, you actually are most likely to get front wing damage. So be careful of that if you ever try those, you crazy dive bombers. But anyway, we're now back up into where we started, and we can get onto the back of Wehrlein now. So a little bit of a compromised start there, but albeit things being said, no one's really like leached away off the start apart from Sam, of course, which is a little bit frustrating. But we're back up into 7th place now. In fact, we actually started in P9, so I thought we'd lost places at the start, but clearly we've gained some. Oh wait, no, I'm being silly. I thought that we were behind. I thought we qualified in front of the Audis. Okay, that's my mistake. So we actually gained a place off the start there. I'm really not with it today. Been working really hard. Anyway, so now, as you can see, onto laps 4 of the Grand Prix now. We've got the DRS here, and we're sort of stuck in a little bit of a DRS train. And at this point, I was being very cautious into every braking zone. But this time here, I'm not going to be cautious into the braking zone. Dive it down the inside of Pascal Wehrlein. With turn 1 being so big at the US Grand Prix, that was just an easy overtake there. And I realised now that I had to get a move on. Sam is obviously pulling away at a vast rate of knots, and I can't do anything about his pace. But with everyone, you can see here, look, everyone's just line astern right now. And I realised that if I just put my foot down, use up my tyres just a little bit now, I can probably get an advantage from this. As you can see now, we're closing up onto the back of Reese here. He's got DRS, but he's not quite close enough. We go into turn 1, and this time we go down the inside of Reese, go a little bit deep into the corner, but allow ourselves to get the better exit there, and we stay in front of Reese, which is great for us, so we can continue on our way there. And now we're onto the back of George Russell, who is in P4. Speaking of George, we're now caught up to him as we nearly go into the back of him there, trying to get a different type of line. Fortunately, the back end steps out slightly, but we have got DRS now on Russell. But this is my problem. Well, you can see it here. George Russell's now stuck in the DRS, but we are in attack mode territory for me to go down the inside of George Russell, which we're going to do just now. As you can see here, pull over to the inside line, make sure that we don't dive too deep, because of course we've got Norris in front of us. I can't afford to hit the back of him and lose my front wing. Cleverly made, cleverly executed. Now we're up into 4th place, and you can see that we're now slowly but surely making some key gains here, as we now have a look at Reese here, who goes down the inside of George Russell in towards turn 1. So it appears that Reese there has been taking some inspiration from what I've been doing in this race so far. And he goes for the move in towards turn 1, and that puts him up into 5th place, and he's in front of myself now. However, I just want to clarify this with you guys. I left this clip in for one reason. You're going to see it right about now here. Reese's car just stops. It just stops. I don't know why. I slowed it down right here. Reese is going through the hairpin, the S section completely fine, and then his car just stops. I don't know why it stopped. I don't know what it was trying to do. But I kind of want your opinions in the comment section down below. Reese at that current moment in time was running in P5. Now, at the end of this race, I have given him the points for where he actually finished. But I kind of actually want to give him the points for finishing in, for a couple more extra points, because that's just a really weird glitch, which has now put him in the clutches of the Audi, and it kind of like spoilt his entire Grand Prix. So I'll talk about it later on, but yeah, let me know in the comment section down below. Should I give some points back to Reese for that? If I am, maybe I'll put the points so that he finishes behind both the 2 Red Bulls, so I'll give him... so I might, to be honest, I would give him P5, because he managed to get past Russell and he was pulling away. just a bit frustrating on that front. But anyway, let me know what you think of that. But as we move on further into the Grand Prix, we got past Lando Norris, which was key for us, and now Sam and also Rosberg have pitted for a brand new set of tyres. Now we're under pressure here from Norris, who, as we can see, goes towards the inside line. I didn't think he was actually close enough to make a move on us, but he does actually try it here. But then on the inside of the second part of the corner, you can see that we get back past Lando there, and we maintain our position as we defend a little bit crazily there, just to try and maintain position and not lose out there to Lando Norris in that position. Lap 9 of the Grand Prix now, and this is our scheduled pit lap here, and we're going to be coming in for a fresh set of soft tyres, but you can see how much my tyres have gone away. Complete understeer there. I've lost all control of the car really at this stage. Now it's time to just get a fresh set of boots on, and let's get on with our Grand Prix. As you can see, Lando Norris and George Russell are going to follow me into the pits. Now, they're quite close here, so I might actually just lose out. There's been a lot of times where you do lose out in the pits if you're in front and your rival comes in just behind you, but we should be okay on this front here. As you can see now, we come out of the pits, and there is us now up into what is now going to be a net P3 when we come out of the pits, because as you can see here, Russell, though, has leapfrogged Lando Norris in the pits. You can see it there, so that is a big one there. So Norris has been jumped in the pits by Russell, and that's kind of good for myself because I don't have a raging McLaren all at my backside throughout all of the straights. I've got Russell instead, as one of the Lamborghini cars, Carlos Sainz here, gets overtaken by Rosberg, who's actually on a fresh set of ultra soft tyres. So Nico doing a different strategy in this Grand Prix. He's been mixing it with us lot, and we're staying in front of Norris for that matter, but for some reason, he has decided to go onto a fresh set of ultra soft tyres. Different strategy then for him, but for myself, my strategy is quite clear. Let's get on with overtaking some cars and building that gap between my rivals behind, because that's what we seem to be the best at. As you can see here, this is already where my tyres are not quite in good working range. We go a little bit deep there into the hairpin. That gave Russell an opportunity to have a little look there, as we're on board with Rosberg now up front, who's overtaking one of the Renault cars. I think it's Ocon, in fact, and it is so, yes, Ocon there, overtaken by Nico Rosberg there. Meanwhile, we're going to go for it down the inside here, send it on Carlos Sainz, and we do just that. A little bit of contact actually made that. I didn't actually feel anything. I didn't realise there was contact there. Wow, okay. But we did barge past Carlos Sainz, so that is us moving up a position. And now, as you can see here, George Russell has to be stuck behind him basically throughout this entire final sector, whereas I now have slightly cleaner air. But obviously, if there's a stage where I need to make a move, I will make a move compared to what the AIs do, where they just, well, won't. They'll wait till a straight. As you can see here, now we're flying through here against Esteban Ocon. He's now my next man up the road, and now I felt like we've got more confidence, more speed. Should just go down the inside here and make the move stick a little bit wide on the exit at the corner there. But as you can see, we now pull away. As you can see, Ocon is going to close on a sort of straight because that Renault is slightly faster than our Mercedes in a straight line. Plus, he has got the slipstream as well, but it's just not enough. And as you can see, he's not going to make it stick for himself. I think he's actually been overtaken here, is Ocon. No, he wasn't. He was just defending his position. But now he's got to defend it against Pascal Wehrlein, who is now attacking him as they go towards the outside of the hairpin here now. So here comes Pascal Wehrlein on the run here. Doesn't work for Wehrlein on the initial stage of things, so Ocon holds on just for a little bit, and that, as you can see there, giving me a little gap now to work with, as Pascal this time now breezes past Esteban Ocon with the DRS. That's going to put Russell into perspective. He's got a 3-wide moment behind there with, I believe that's Reese, one of the Audi cars. I think that's Vettel there. And there's also one of the Lamborghini cars, but Ocon there has been passed by Pascal Wehrlein. Now he's about to be passed by George Russell, and that's going to drop him down a couple of places. But of course, Ocon is yet to stop in this race, and there you can see it has gone over for him. Lap 11 of the Grand Prix now, and we're closing out to the back of Pierre Gasly in the Jaguar car here as we lose the back end slightly there. Pull back into the situation with Gasly, and as you can see, this move is pretty much done. I open it up into rich mixture just to get a little bit further ahead of Gasly, and just makes my line a little bit easier into turn 1. I don't have to go and outbrake myself and compromise my line. I can sort of just take a normal turn 1 line, and no matter where you go, unless you're deep on the inside, turn 1 is never really going to affect you around here because you can just take your own lines. And then on to lap 14 of the Grand Prix, now we finally closed up to Nico Rosberg, as of course his ultra soft tyres are now wearing out fast, and we're of course on soft tyres, which can get us to the end of the Grand Prix. Rosberg needs to stop again, and to be honest, this is where Rosberg's strategy has kind of just fallen apart. He's just too far away, he's just too close, to our slot. Sam in front is going up towards turn 1 at the moment. He's probably in the best spot to do a 2-stop strategy if he wanted to. Rosberg, not really so much, and unfortunately, despite the fact that he's been really competitive all race long, in fairness to him, we are going to now get the DRS here, move to the inside line, and just make our move in towards somewhat nice and gingerly, and there's us up into P2. Sam is also on ultra soft tyres, which confirms that Sam is going on for a 2-stop race himself. And then on to lap 16 of the Grand Prix. This is to confirm that Sam is on a 2-stop. You can see he's actually just come into the pits now, and we're coming on through here. And surprisingly, I think Sam pitted for... No, he's pitted for super soft tyres, so I thought he pitted for soft tyres then. I was a bit confused. Obviously, for ourselves, we couldn't really do a two-stop in this race. It just wouldn't have been effective for us. We've been quite quick, actually, in the race. I've been really happy with the race pace here. But as Sam obviously made his pit stop now, the two Red Bulls have lost a little bit of time to myself, and this is why they actually went and started scrapping a little bit a couple of laps before Sam pitted. So this was initially George Russell here having a look at Pascal Wehrlein into the hairpin. Wehrlein completely shrugged that one off and gave him no opportunities there to pass. But then as they went onto the straight here, up towards turn 1, we're on board with Pascal Wehrlein, now on board with George Russell here. The DRS is now enabled for him, and as they go in towards the first corner here, Pascal goes a little bit defensive, but George goes down the inside. A bit of barging there between the two Red Bull cars, but that is now George up and cleanly into what is going to be P4, it would have been in that circumstance, because I believe that was just before Rosberg got past. Lap 19 of the Grand Prix now, and I'm under massive pressure from Sam in the McLaren car. He's very quick in this stage of the race. You can see the back end is really sliding as I am pushing hard just to try and stay in front of Sam, but at the end of the day, he's on fresh super soft tyres. He's been much quicker all weekend, fast up the race, nowhere near the pace that I can do, and with the DRS here, I decided, no point, I'm just going to let him through at this stage. Like, I know, I could fight him, and I know that I really could. That's not an issue for me. I know how I could easily defend for a good 8 laps against Sam. My problem is, obviously, A, he's much faster, and B, I've got a gap to the Red Bull cars, who was slowly closing in on me, so I thought, what's the point? Let's just take second place. So Sam comes home and wins the US Grand Prix, but it's not going to be that damaging. Remember that Sam DNF'd last time around and we took the win, so this time around, we're going to come home and take second place. That's probably what should have happened in the Russian Grand Prix last time around, but it didn't. But it was actually quite a quiet Grand Prix, not going to lie. But it is Sam ahead of myself, and then Russell, Pascal Wehrlein, and Norris ahead of Rosberg, Verstappen, Ricardo, Hamilton, and then Reese finishing down in P10, which is quite annoying because, of course, well, his car just stopped for no reason. So let me know what you think of that one in the comment section down below. But that is the US Grand Prix. Quite a quiet one, actually. Here's how the Drivers' Championship looks then after that event. Obviously, with Sam winning the Grand Prix and myself finishing in second, that seems to be quite an interesting trend. The gap is now 53 points in the championship, with now, obviously, 4 races to go. Pascal Wehrlein is on 122 points. He's still quite close to Sam in the championship, actually, surprisingly enough. So don't rule him out. If he can win all the remaining races and really have me and Sam have a complete calamity, he's still up in there. Sebastian Vettel is on 87 points, but where it gets interesting is further down, with Lewis Hamilton on 76 points, George Russell on 75 points, Lando Norris on 72 points, Reese on 72 points, and Charles Leclerc on 66 points. They are so close from Vettel to Leclerc. It is very tight, and if one of those guys can pick up a race win in the final few races of the year, it's really going to put them right in there for that chance to claim P4 in the championship. And Pierre Gasly is still holding on to that 10th place in the championship on 36 points, but there are some other drivers breathing down his neck. And then in the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes lead the way with 279 points ahead of McLaren on 226 points. McLaren scoring more points than Mercedes this weekend, so they do close that gap to 53 points if my maths is correct. Red Bull go back in front of Audi. Literally, Red Bull and Audi are constantly swapping places in that championship battle for P3 there, but it's Red Bull with a very strong showing today, going in front of Audi. Porsche are on 94 points and are on the cusp of scoring 100 points, but with all things considered, with there being 4 races to go now when there could have been 2 or even 1, you never know with this championship how it's been crazy with the FIA these days. They are now pretty much all but set to pass the 100-point barrier, which is a great result for them. Ferrari on 56 points and pull edge slightly away from Jaguar, and Renault now are on 38 points, and they're really making inroads, consistently scoring points now, Renault. Don't be surprised if they may jump Ferrari later down the line with the performance that they're going at. Lamborghini obviously scoring their amount of points, and BMW are still yet to score. Without further ado, let's get into the post-race notebook, see what's been happening after the race. So after that US Grand Prix, it seems kind of deflated actually. Despite Sam's race win, he still believes that the title fight is well and truly over. With 4 races now remaining, Sam believes that even the 53-point margin is too much for him to close, and he believes that Tom will most probably finish second in every single race if he won them all. So he doesn't believe that the title fight is there anymore, and he's just racing for pride, as he states. Red Bull are happy with a very strong showing here today, as they managed to finish P3 in P4. They were still pretty upset that they got beat by Tom in the end. However, they felt that with their inter-team scraps, they felt like they just lost a bit too much time when they were fighting for nothing, when really they should have tried to go and see if they could get after Tom. And then Nico Rosberg was pleased to be able to fight with the big guns. We saw in the opening stint that Rosberg was eligible to take the fight to the Red Bulls, McLarens, and obviously the Mercedes as well. It just turns out their strategy didn't work for them, which is why they lost out in the end. But that's going to be it for this episode of the F1 Journey. If you have enjoyed it, feel free to drop it a like, subscribe if you're new around here to the channel as well. We will see you guys next time when we're going to Singapore after the inspection check has been completed. And then we will see what happens under the lights. But until then, guys, we will see you then. Take care all. Peace.